Calvin, congrats again on this honor. Hope the family's good.
Thanks, John.
Just wanted to ask you about the Lions here, and if there's been any progress, I guess, from your perspective on, I don't know, repairing that relationship, making things right. And I wonder what conversations you've had with Barry about it, given his own experience eventually coming back into the organization.
Well, I'll start with Barry. I haven't, whenever I see Barry, we're not even talking about it. And people probably think that's, great conversation. Initially, it would be. I never think to have it when I'm talking to him, because we're really talking about, whatever we're doing. Like I saw him last at the Rocket Mortgage. So, it's like, how you hitting them? When can we get out and play? You going to the Hall of Fame? We're only talking about the Lions. But about the Lions, it's kind of been just, staying still there.
Does it matter to you? And is that something that you think about even? And how does it affect your, I guess, approach to this Hall of Fame, even as you talk about the Lions in your career?
Yes, it only matters really, I guess, when you talk about it, line up with Hall of Fame just because you're talking football, or when, I have, just somebody's on the street, just want to talk about it. But, for me, I'm 5 years out now, and I'm not wasting any time waiting on them.
Last one for me. I mean, your sons, I don't know, are they old enough to understand your career, what, any of that? And I guess, but how special will it be to, I guess, see them this week, as a part of this whole weekend?
Yeah, I mean, maybe my 7-year-old might. He asked me some questions a little while ago. He's like, "Daddy, I didn't know you were so cool at football." So, I guess when they get a little older, they'll understand a little more. I got a couple of games I'm gonna make them watch.
All right, thanks, Calvin. Congrats again.
Thanks, John.
Thanks, John. Carlos, you're up, and then Alec will be next.
Hey, Calvin, congrats again, man.
Thank you. Thanks, Carlos.
Hey, just following up on a little bit what John started there. Would you sense any awkwardness? Maybe do you anticipate any awkwardness if you run into Rod Wood or any of the members during the ceremonies and all that?
I'm sure I'm gonna run into him, but I mean, me, I keep it short. I'm gonna keep it moving, go about my business. Hey, put it like this: I'm not gonna be able to see my family a whole lot during this whole weekend, so I'm gonna be looking forward to seeing them whenever I get a chance to. So, if I pass Rod Wood, I'm gonna keep it moving.
And talking about Barry too, he was kind of going through the same thing you're going through, a little bit at odds with the team at the time with his bonus money. He didn't thank the Lions in his acceptance speech, or, he thanked the fans, City of Detroit, but he notably kept the Lions. Do you expect to thank them in your speech?
Man, I want to answer this question so bad. I'm like, should I answer it? But
yes, please.
I'm definitely going to, bring up all the people that I'm thankful for. And there's so many people and moments during my career that had an impact. And those specific people, I'm going to try to, get it. I mean, at least I'm gonna have them on the ticker, but I'm not gonna be able to mention everybody. John and Carlos, you guys had a part in that too. Y'all kept me on my toes, asking me all these questions every week. So, I just want to, for the Lions, hey, like I said, I ain't got nothing to
say. Just the last thing for me, I know how much you love public speaking. So what's the part you're looking forward to most during the ceremonies, or what are you dreading the most?
I think the part I'm looking forward to the most is, just being able to be in a room with all the gold jackets. That's going to be legendary for me. A lot of the people I've grown up watching, I haven't even yet to meet. So I'm just going to be like a little kid in a candy store, just like, looking like this all around. So, but for me, it's still surreal. I'm head down in the business, not even thinking about it, but it's 2 weeks away. So I'm looking forward to giving my speech. I'm ready. I've been rehearsing. I'm trying to get it down to the 8-minute mark. That's the hard part. I'm at 9, so I'm gonna have to cut some stuff out.
Thanks, Calvin. Congrats again.
Thank you.
Next question is for Alec Lace and then Alex Fleming.
Hey, Calvin, what's doing? Alec Lace here with First Class Fatherhood. I had you on the podcast recently. I wanted to just ask you, what is this moment going to mean for you as a dad? And what do you hope that your kids, eventually as they get older and they look back on your football career and your Hall of Fame speech, what do you hope that your kids will take away from you down the line here?
Just a story of like, perseverance and always being there, great attitude and great effort in everything that you do, and hopefully that they could take those two things and just, it will help them throughout their life, and improve a lot of their situations if they can control those two things.
Very cool. Congratulations on the Hall of Fame.
Thanks, Alec.
Alex Fleming, and then Cortland Griffin.
Mr. Johnson, first and foremost, congratulations on the Hall of Fame nod. Well deserved. I have a couple of questions. First one, do you find it ironic that Harold Carmichael is technically saying Hall of Fame class is used, he's 6'8", basically started the trend of dominating receivers? And number two, imagining that you actually had a chance to escape Detroit, what team would you have liked to play for?
I got in trouble answering this question similar like a month or two ago. Somebody asked me, like, where would you want to play? It ain't changed, man. It's Green Bay. I'd love to go play for Green Bay, man. I've always grown up liking Green Bay. And then they have Aaron Rodgers. What a great quarterback and tool they have right there. So, to be able to go in there and watch him, he throws it up. He likes to throw that ball downfield. So, that's right up my alley. But I missed your first question. It was breaking up a little bit.
Harold Carmichael, former Philadelphia Eagles, 6'8" wide receiver, is being inducted into the Hall of Fame, and he'll be in with you, technically, 2020, 2021. We all know why. But he was the blueprint on freak athlete receivers that were dominating. And if anyone saw your career, everyone would know that you had double teamed just because that's just respect. One corner, one safety couldn't handle you. Sometimes you were triple teamed. And it's just a shame that now you and Matthew Stafford are no longer with the team because of organizational reasons. But yeah, do you find it ironic that Harold Carmichael and yourself are being inducted in the same year, sir?
That's so cool, man. It's just like you say, it's, big guys, you're not expected to be, be able to move and do the things that maybe like the, mine is just a little under 6 foot type guy can do. But, just being out there to show that that's not right. That's not true. You do anything you put your mind to. So that's the mindset that I'm sure that he carried as well.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson.
Yes, sir.
Cortland Griffin, and then Miss Kraft.
Calvin, how you doing, man? Congratulations on being inducted to the Hall of Fame. I have two questions for you. First one is, throughout your career, you were a nightmare for any corner. Like Alex said, you're triple team, double teamed at times. But is there any guy?
You went on mute, Cortland.
I'm sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Is there any guy from your era or from the past that you would have liked to go on one-on-one against that you feel like, man, I could get the best of that guy?
I mean, I guess, the B.A.M was the, creme de la creme back in the day. Just to, I would love to, of course, of being able to go against him in his prime, just to see what that's like, but obviously we can't do that. But, that would have been, awesome for me just to experience that,
Yeah, and then I'm here in Charlotte. I just got done covering the ACC kickoff. Of course, you're an ACC guy from Georgia Tech. Man, what can you, another Georgia Tech receiver just retired in Demaryius Thomas. So you guys have a good lineage there, man. Can you give some insight on what you think this team is going to be with, such a young team, and then also Jeff Collins bringing the swag to that Georgia Tech team?
Yeah, I think what is Jeff in his third year there now? I think.
I believe so. Yes, sir.
So hopefully, I think that by this time, he's able to have his talent in there, and they're really kind of, getting to that point where they can, do exactly what he wanted them to do, and go out there and perform on a weekly basis. I'm hoping that, like I say, my hope is that he has his people there so that they can go out there and execute. I'd love Jeff Collins. Like I said, we know he brings that energy to that team. So I just hope that they can, make that translate to the field on Saturdays. I mean, obviously, Jeff was there when I was at Tech, so love him. He's quality control, quality assistant head coach and stuff like that. So great dude. I wish the best for him, and I really hope those Jackets got their stuff together this year.
Man, and you were a Yellow Jacket. You're going to get a Yellow Jacket in 2 weeks, man. Congratulations again. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Cortland. Ms. Kraft, you're up, and then Jake Malik next.
Hi, Calvin. Lori Kraft with the Jobu Sports Report. I have two questions for you. Another Georgia Tech question. How did Georgia Tech prepare you to become a Hall of Famer?
You know, I'll give you two things. I had a great chaplain. He'll be the one unveiling my bus, and Derek Moore. You know, he poured into me just as a mentor spiritually, kind of helped me, you know, my foundation. I had a foundation just through my parents, but he kept solidify those things, those teachings and principles. You know, when I got to college, you know, it's always, you know, funny when you hear something from somebody else that you hear from your parents all the time. And then once you hear from that one other person, it kind of solidifies it. As far as a receiver, man, Buddy Geis is my receiver coach. I take the things that, you know, like I say, always talk about attitude and effort. And those are two things that, you know, he used to stick me when I first came to Tech. You know, catching that ball over the outside of your shoulder, you know, being able to track the ball, you know, those are things that, you know, he kind of imparted in me that never went away. And those things I carried on to the league, you know, just from how to carry myself and the things I learned from my mentor to, you know, how to attack the ball and how to be conscious of where my body is.
Thank you. One other question. So we're all excited to get back to football, be in the stadiums, and you know, COVID-19 is kind of an afterthought, but now the Delta variant is everywhere. What do you think the NFL could do to encourage the fans to get vaccinated?
Yeah, that's tough. I guess we are on such a platform, you know, the guys, if they could, you know, possibly get the guys that are, you know, the big names on different teams, you know, that people all look up to, you know, those guys, you get them out there on a PSA of some sort, but, you know, it can't just be, you know, it has to be real, you know,
Yeah.
it has to be real stories tied to it if you really want to get the last, you know, the remainder of folks that don't want to get vaccinated or having hesitancy.
I'm okay. I can't get back.
I think that having real stories tied to these things are you know, makes it so much more impactful and kind of pushes people over the edge. You know, I got my stories. I got people that volunteered my foundation that passed away from it. So, you know, this is real. It's frustrating to hear people talk about it as that is saying that it's not.
Right. Well, I appreciate you and congratulations. And we'll see you at the Hall of Fame.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lori. Jake, you're up, and then Joe McKeon.
Calvin, congratulations. I've watched your whole career, loved watching you. I feel honored to talk to you. So congrats, first of all.
Thanks, Jake.
I have two questions for you. The first was, you retired kind of early. You were only just 30. It felt like you had a lot left in the tank when you look at the stats and the way things went down. Do you ever kind of just regret retiring early? I mean, I know there were a lot of things that went into it, but do you ever just look back and think, man, I wish I played another maybe season or two more?
No, I was going to retire after my 8th season. I didn't want to be out there. It's like that last season, dude, like a lot of people don't realize I've never been in a point where I didn't want to play. And I'll even tell my guys, I'd be out there before games like, dude, I do not want to play today. I don't feel it. And I say this, there's one game my last season, we went down to play the Rams, I think, at the Rams, I believe. I had like one catch that game. But it's a direct reflection of my attitude going into that game, I feel like. Yeah, everything wasn't perfect. The balls weren't, when there's interceptions and stuff like that. But at the same time, I did not want to be there. And that's not a way that you want to be playing in the NFL. That's how you get hurt even more.
The second question, you played majority of your career with your quarterback being Matt Stafford. And in his entire career, he's only been selected to one Pro Bowl. He's got the stats. He's been a great quarterback, but I feel like he's always been underrated. You know him personally. You played alongside him for a long time. Do you think he's undervalued, underappreciated, you know, doesn't get the recognition he deserves, or do you think it's just what he's getting, I guess?
I mean, for a quarterback, you know, you always tie it to your wins, man. But I mean, I tell you, the talent in the NFL, shoot, who can throw the ball like this guy? I mean, I got messed up fingers because he throws fastballs all the time, but those fastballs are always on point, you know? So his accuracy, he has a gun, he makes throws that you just don't see. I think back to the Cowboys game, that crazy game I had 300 yards. I just think about that last drive where he threw 3 dimes, like one, he threw 2 of them to me, but that one to Durham, he threw like, you know, 60 yards across the field on the sideline and just dropped it in his belly. It's just like stuff like that I'm used to seeing, you know, and for me, like I said, I'm used to seeing it, that it just, for other people, it just, they don't realize, maybe because we're in Detroit, or we don't get as much maybe TV time, or maybe because some of it I see it in practice all the time. So I'm used to seeing that. I would say greatness. That arm he has right there, he has a great arm. So I hope that out there in LA, he's able to put it all together.
Thank you, and congratulations again.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Joe McKeon, and then Phil Jones.
Hey, Calvin, appreciate the time. Hey, going back to your early days in the game, whether it was high school or even before that, was there someone who had a special influence on you or maybe pushed you in ways that really helped you get on the path that you would eventually get on to get to the NFL and the Hall of Fame?
Yeah, I'll tell you, I just take it back and give that one to my high school head coach, Rodney Walker. The high school football was tough, man. We had 4 days in camp, 3-hour practice in the morning. We had 2.5-hour practices, behind each other in the afternoon, and finish up with a 3-hour practice in the evening. So, one, it just built a whole lot of toughness. And two, I think that, my last year I had finished all my credits and I was helping the head coach. He was the in-school suspension teacher. So I would just go around the school and collect documents for whatever the kids in ISS had to do. And there's one time we had a conversation and he was just like, man, you could be as good as anybody ever played this game. And I was just like, man, shut up, coach, whatever, you're just talking, but then, he kept on reiterating that, like, you see all these schools, they want you, yada, 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 you could be as good as you want to be. I see it. I've seen it, yada, yada, yada. And I'm just like, man, whatever. But it was all those talks that we had, just speaking confidence into me the whole time. So that's where I think that's the beginning of the journey where I could, he actually helped me see it, and once I was able to see it, then just put the work behind it.
Kind of along those same lines, based on your experiences coming up through the game, high school, college, pros, and now the Hall of Fame, what advice would you give to young athletes who admire you and look up to you and want to achieve the things you've achieved? Yeah,
I mean, it's simple for me. I think it's about perseverance. We always going to have good stuff to happen, bad stuff to happen, but you just can't let those setbacks stop you. You got to keep pushing forward, whatever you do.
Appreciate the time. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Phil Jones, and then Chris Daly.
Good afternoon, Calvin. How are you doing today? And congratulations on making it to the Hall of Fame.
Thank you.
I got 2 questions for you. So the first one is, once you, do your little inductment, you get your bus, are you looking to probably come back and be a wide receiver coach in the NFL? Has that caught to your mind a little bit? Like, let's see what happens down the road?
Nah, man, coaches are there before and after we leave. I'm like, man, I'm not looking forward to, I don't want to go. I love football. I love pouring into the guys, but I wouldn't look forward to going to work every day and, being in those meeting rooms, no way, not happening again.
My second question is, tell me a little bit more about your marijuana business that you started with you and your former teammate, Rob Sims.
Sure. Well, it's called Primitive. I got the hat on. The Primitive without the E at the end. And why we call it Primitive is because, plant medicine, this is the original way, it's the original medicine. So we're just getting back to our primitive roots. And at the same time, just taking all the technology that we have today and applying it to these to the plant medicines that we use, that there are better ways, more holistic, natural ways, and creates an alternative to a lot of things that are being used today, obviously opioids and whatnot. So I'm just looking forward to, for us, just being, leaders in the space, removing the stigma from the space by educating people about the healing powers of the plant. And really the big thing for us is just pushing that education, to the point that, I got my mom asking me for applications or just like topicals. My mom was totally against me. We're from the South, Bible Belt. Cannabis is a big no-no, especially in the Black community. So, she wasn't happy about it, but my biggest joy was to bring her up to here to check out my facility a couple months ago for the first time. And she was blown away because you see that we're really passionate about what we're doing and creating solutions in the space.
Appreciate it. And congratulations again on making the Hall of Fame.
Thanks, Phil.
Chris Daly, and then Will Birchfield.
Calvin, congratulations on being inducted into the Hall of Fame and going from Butterfingers, as they called you in your freshman year of high school, to becoming an all-time great. So many people talk about your early retirement, and I just want to ask, following your retirement, was there ever a thought, and did it ever pop in your head that, you may want to come back into the NFL one day?
No, I mean, I can't say I didn't think about it, but every time I thought about it, it was easily I get a sharp pain in my knee or my ankle. It remind me, no, you can't do that anymore. or I go shoot some hoops or run around and my ankles be swollen. I'm like, I can't even make it through just running around with my kids. There's no way I could do that. So yeah, that was to answer that question. Yeah, I thought about it, but it was just the body. No, I'm not about to put myself back through that mentally. Chris, man, how old are you, dude? Like,
I'm 15. Yeah.
all right. Cool.
Yeah. Thanks and congrats again.
Thanks, bud.
Yep. Chris has been a regular contributor to these sessions, Calvin. He asks good questions. So we're going to go next to Will Birchfield and then Fago Franklin.
Hey, Calvin, just curious. You said you wanted to show your 7-year-old son a couple games. Which games?
I have a couple of discs. I don't have all of them. I have the Chicago game. I have my Cowboys game. I have, what other games do I have? I think I have a playoff game in there, my first playoff game. So I have about like a handful of games from my time playing. I feel like I lost like a bunch of them, but yeah, I'm going to get with NFL Films on that so they can recreate those for me.
Thanks, Will. We'll go to Fago Franklin and then Bob Wojnowski.
Hey, how you doing, Calvin? Congratulations on everything.
Thank you, Fago.
Always. What advice could you give your younger self about having patience and staying true to yourself?
Yeah, I mean, so that's good. That's a good one. I would say that, today it's like an urge to, you want to be yourself, but then you want to go with the crowd, and just really focusing on what you do. What I've learned and what I've seen is that, we're not always, we're not going to hit it out the park that first time or that first crack at it, but, just staying with it, you can go from that ugly duckling to that, that beautiful goose or whatever. So really just viewing every setback, as an opportunity. I think that's a good way to put it. If I would view everything as an opportunity and not, keep that optimistic outlook about everything, knowing that, okay, yeah, this is a setback now, but it's an opportunity for me to get better, to push to become that best version of myself, just to have that optimistic outlook. I think that, not that I didn't have it, but just really focusing on the way where I put my thought and my time, positive thoughts, not thinking about the negative stuff that's going to drag you down. Put those thoughts into something good, just knowing that at a younger age, maybe.
And my last question is, do you honestly think that Julio Jones will be a future Hall of Famer?
It's going to be hard to deny him. The team, he helped lead his team in the playoffs to the Super Bowl. I love watching Julio when he came out of college. So if he can stay healthy, he has a good chance. I know he has numbers. So.
Amen. All right. Thank you for doing this.
Mm-hmm.
Bob, you're on, and then Don Stenson.
Hey there, Calvin. Congratulations again.
Thank you, Bob.
Sure. For all you accomplished, all the records, everything else, and the Hall of Fame status, not winning a playoff game, and clearly at the end of your career, you didn't want to be there anymore, as you said. Do you feel that's a hole in your career, and why do you think it never happened with you here with the Lions, with Matthew Stafford, with everything else? Why no playoff success?
I mean, we came in. I mean, when you're drafting in the top 3 every year in the playoffs, it's going to be hard to get there. It's hard to turn those. You getting that first pick of the draft into a playoff winner. Usually when you're on the wrong side of things when you're picking early, and we were picking early quite a bit during the first half of my career. The second half there, though, when we got to the playoffs and we were getting there, I felt like we had a team. I thought we had the team to take it all the way. I felt like even there towards the end of my career, a couple of years before I think like 2 years before I left, that's when they kind of broke up the band a little bit, got rid of, and that's in my eyes was a big key piece to us being dominant, was having that defensive line that we had in place. And then, when we got rid of 3 of those guys off that defensive line and didn't really replace them, at that point I was like, okay, we're in rebuilding mode. But
Appreciate
to answer your question more about the playoffs, yeah, man, it sucks to be out of it so many times now, or not just to be watching other teams play in in the offseason, knowing that we got talent here to do that. We just weren't able to put it all together.
I guess the positive is it didn't diminish your standing or your stature in pro football. You're going to the Hall of Fame. So I guess you don't spend too much time worrying about it.
I don't spend too much time worried about it. I think playoffs, man, I can only think back really to that first game we had against New Orleans. And then shoot, when we got, the robbery in Dallas, I think they're mad at us for what we did to them a couple of years ago.
Thank you.
Yeah.
3 questioners left, Calvin. Don Stenson and then Matt Bachota.
Congratulations, Calvin.
Hey, thank you. Thank you, Don.
No problem. Now, wearing number 81, you join Art Monk, Tim Brown, Shannon Sharp, Miles T.O. It's a total of 13 of you all wearing that number 81. How special is that? And what made you select the number 81?
No, yeah, it's very special. I mean, the main reason I selected the number 81 was because of those guys and because I couldn't wear 21 in the league. I would have wore 21, but because that's what I played with in college. That's my baseball number growing up. But being a receiver, you only wear the 80s or the teens or whatever at the time. So that's why I was 81 and just took after some of the great players that I enjoyed watching that I kind of, wanted to, put pieces of their game into mine.
Congratulations again.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Matt and then Mark.
Hey, congratulations, Calvin. It was just a blessing to watch you play. Just 2 things. One, just kind of getting off the regular football talk, just fantasy wise, anyone ever come up to you or get on you on social media and say something about your fantasy status when it comes to your game?
I mean, I hear a lot of people like, hey, you helped me win my fantasy this and that year. I was like, oh, that's cool. Like, hey, do I get a little cut? Like, I mean, shoot, if I got a little cut, I'll be all right. Forget the Lions and that payback. I'm good.
There you go. And the other thing is, with the young talent at quarterback right now in the league, is there a player that you could kind of really see yourself really, meshing with, whether it's, Patrick Mahomes as much as he throws, or, maybe Lamar's game, the way he's going? Is there a quarterback out there that you kind of see that you'd like to have played with, or, that would be a dream?
Man, I went to college, Georgia Tech. I played with Reggie Ball, and I love Reggie so much because Reggie could put the ball pretty much anywhere on the field, but he uses legs a whole lot to get out of situations. And it got to a point where, Reggie would stop using his legs to run because he knew I was out there. He would just use his legs just to free up a second and get the ball down the field to me. So when I say that, and I'm looking at Lamar Jackson. I'm like, man, like that could be a big problem if he could break the pocket. Can't nobody take him down behind the line of scrimmage. And right before he crossed the line of scrimmage, dump that ball downfield, 50, 60 yards downfield. Hey, I see that, and I'm like, it just makes me think about Reggie Ball when we were in college.
Absolutely. Hey, congratulations again, and thanks for doing this.
Oh, no problem. Thank you.
Calvin, we want to thank you for your time, and we're going to bring it home here with the last question from Mark Holmes.
I guess no pressure here. Calvin, congratulations on being in the Hall of Fame. Sorry about that robbery in Dallas, but I do remember the Cowboys being up 21 points in the second half and you guys coming back and spanking them. I've had the pleasure of being in Thanksgiving in Detroit, and I got to tell you, the fans there seem to be so great. Some of the best fan base I've ever seen. But do you think if you had been on a team, or let's say that robbery in Dallas didn't happen and your team had had more success, do you think you would have played longer? Because as a sports fan, seeing Barry Sanders as well as yourself retiring too soon, we feel kind of robbed.
I can't answer that question surely, but I know what my body was telling me. So my days were numbered, whether it was another year. I mean, it should. If we had just won the championship, of course I'm gonna come back. If we had just got like maybe to the, even to the playoffs, maybe I would have come back. But I know my body, I wouldn't have been able to be out there like I was in the past doing all that running.
Well, we'll see you in a couple of weeks, and congratulations.
Hey, I appreciate y'all.
Calvin, thank you very much. We are inside of 2 weeks before we see you in Canton with the class of 2021 and others in the Centennial class of 2020. Can't wait to see you here. We appreciate your time and thanks for making this special.
Oh, no problem. Thanks, Rich. And it's good to see all you guys.